We talk a lot about champions at Story Studio Network, and that is the goal of your podcast, is to create champions. You want people who are going to come in and stick with you for the long haul. And so part of that is really understanding the power of what you're giving them, which is an opportunity to be immersed in your brand while also doing other things that are important to them. So immersive storytelling is best done when you are fully considerate of the audience and where they will be when they are receiving your content. So this is why it's not social media. This is why it's not Netflix and scroll, as we now say. We used to say at the beginning of the pandemic, Netflix and chill. Now it's Netflix and scroll, which is the marketer's worst nightmare. You don't want to have somebody thinking about two things at once. So podcasts allow for immersion. And this is where we see its true benefit over more traditional forms of advertising, which are more passive, which are less permission-based, and certainly they have not the same ability to pull at those emotional heartstrings. So how do we actually do it? And where does that power come from when we're thinking about how to craft our podcast? Well, there are three key elements to podcasts that enhance this whole immersion idea. The first one is the fact that podcasts can be long form. So it's the place where, yeah, you can put up your 15-second YouTube short or your 60-second Instagram video or even your 10-minute snippet on LinkedIn. But you can use all that content to drive folks to a 45-minute interview with an expert, interview with somebody who's going to dissect that and go further, immerse themselves in the content. And the beautiful part about it is, no, not everyone is going to click from your social media to your podcast feed. It's just not going to happen. But the people who do have made a choice to go deeper with you. So I've seen a stat out there by Podscribe, and they say that a podcast listener who has that behavior of going from social media to your podcast feed is actually worth 100 times more to your brand than a person who simply engages with you on social media. Now, I did ask them to explain where they got that stat, and they said it was an amalgam of a bunch of feedback that they got from their users and their listeners. But here's what I want you to know, is that stat doesn't feel wrong. Somebody who actively chooses to go and spend 45 minutes with you and your brand is an extremely valuable asset to you and your marketing. They are a champion. So the long form ability of podcasts is part of what gives it such power.